Hey, it's Ryan Seacrest. Life comes at you fast, which is why it's important to find some time to relax. A little you time. Enter Chumba Casino. With no download required, you can jump on anytime, anywhere for the chance to redeem some serious prizes. So treat yourself with Chumba Casino and play over 100 online casino-style games, all for free. Go to ChumbaCasino.com to collect your free welcome bonus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome to the Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and Biggs. He is Grindberg. I am Biggs. Schultz is, I thought I saw him ruffling around in some drawers back there, but I think he might have gotten taken by the beast of Baldenboro. That's a North Carolina cryptid that like eats people. So hopefully Schultz is okay. We love you, Schultz. Hope you didn't get taken by the beast of Baldenboro. All right. Today, right now, we're going to be talking about our top 5 rookie wide receivers and our top 5 rookie tight ends. On our last episode, we shared our quarterbacks and running backs. And guess what? Those have already changed for me. So from the time I filled out this show sheet until just opening it just now, I changed my rankings again. So it goes that way in rookie season. There is so much fluctuation until after the draft when we have landing spots and who's with what offensive coordinator and who slots where into the team hierarchy, etc. So we're going to go over some of the stuff. This is some pre-draft hype for your eyes and ears and brain pans, and we're going to get into it. How are you doing, Mike?
Doing good. It's rumor mill right now, rumor mill season, if you will. And, you're hearing rumors of like these guys making, trips to teams, these rookies like Quinshon Judkins to the Cincinnati Bengals. That'd be big news, right, Biggs? But you know what? We're going to report actual news, and we're going to report, our top 5s. And that's news right now to some of our viewers. So let's get into it. Let's get into your top 5 rookie wide receivers right now, headed into the draft. And obviously, we're going to reassess after the draft because I'm sure that will change with landing spots.
Okay. At 5, I have Iowa State wide receiver Jaylen Knoll. Got a chance to put eyes on him at the Senior Bowl, and the dude is just very fluid in routes. He gets good separation. He's going to be a very good slot receiver. My comparable for him is peak Hunter Renfrow, although I think he's more athletic than Renfrow is. My number 4 is fellow Iowa State teammate of Jaylen Knoll's. That's Jayden Higgins. I like him so much. Another guy that I got a chance to put eyes on at the Senior Bowl, and the stuff he did to the competition was absolutely alarming. He was making people fall down. He was burning folks left and right, making body action catches in midair. Just really a phenomenon for me to see up close. And I like his size. I saw a tweet today that asked, who do you like better out of Higgins and Knoll? I don't like either one of them more. I just think that Higgins has a profile that he can do a lot of the things Knoll does, but Knoll can't do all of the things that Higgins can do. So I think Higgins has a clearer path to a wide receiver 1 spot than Knoll does. I think Knoll is limited. Although he can play outside, I think he plays a lot more in the slot, and Higgins does more all over the field. So by year 3 or 4, especially in your dynasties, I see Higgins as being a top 12 wide receiver every single year. Number 3 is Emeka Egbuka. I comp him a lot to Jackson Smith and Jigba, fellow Ohio State guy. I don't like to helmet scout, but if anybody is recruited by Brian Hartline, the wide receiver coach at Ohio State, I tend to keep a closer eye on, and Egbuka is that guy. He was competing with Jackson Smith and Jigba and Marvin Harrison Jr. for catches and had a breakout while he was an underclassman to those guys. So I think there's big things from him coming. My number 2, and this is going to surprise some people, my number 2 is Ted McMillan. I do think that there is a path for Ted McMillan to be the wide receiver 1 in this class. But I like Trey Harris better. So Trey Harris is my number 1. And this is going to change because the number one corollary for wide receiver production in fantasy is draft spot. So whoever has the best draft capital is usually going to be the one getting the most targets. There is a little bit of fluctuation within, the middle rankings therein. But I like Trey Harris a lot. Some of his route running stuff, some of his analytics are absolutely mind-numbing, and that's the stuff that I lean to. I have been seeing some stuff that's kind of negative, kind of down on McMillan as far as his route tree. That puts me in the mind of Treylon Burks. Now, Treylon Burks obviously wasn't the first wide receiver taken, but he was up there. And if McMillan has a Treylon Burks type floor, that's bad. That's bad, you guys. So I went with Trey Harris. I just love everything that he does on the field. He can go deep. He can go shallow. He can go across the middle. He can catch on the boundary. Essentially everything that Higgins does. But I really like Trey Harris's volume and his production. So that's my top 5.
I like it, Biggs. I'm very similar to you in my top 5. Just kind of like a little bit different in where I've placed these guys. I don't have Jaylen Noel inside my top 5 at this stage. He's my number 6 at this stage. Jayden Higgins comes in as my number 5. I like his upside, like you mentioned. He's got great hands, and he looked really good at the Senior Bowl, like you mentioned. So I'm looking at him to be a guy that I'm going to try and get in a lot of my drafts later on. Travis Hunter comes in as my number 4 right now, and I think he's got the upside to be the number 1 in this class. He's starting to heat up, and more talk is emerging about him playing, the wide receiver role primarily. So if that were to happen, I'd be all in on Hunter's talent. He's the most gifted player at the position, in my opinion, in this class. If we knew for sure that he would be, the sole focus at playing wide receiver, he'd easily be my number 1 wide receiver. His unique combination of size and athleticism and ball skills give him a ceiling, that few in this class can actually match. So, his stats, they speak for himself. He played 2 positions last year and still managed to get 1,200 receiving yards. He's got that big play potential, and it's undeniable. He routinely makes, explosive gains in a high volume passing attack. So I like where he could potentially land. And right now, it's sounding like he might slip if Shedeur Sanders gets, top 2 draft capital. That would be great news for either the Patriots or, Cleveland, or the Giants. If that were to happen, I think Hunter would fit in both of those teams quite comfortably as a wide receiver asset. So that's why I kind of got my eye on him as my number 4, and he could quickly change that and become my number 1 with a good landing spot and, some more clarity about his role. Trey Harris is my number 3. I really like his upside as well. So Biggs and I are pretty high on Trey Harris. He's got, him as his number 1. So he sees a lot more upside than I do in him. Tet McMillan is obviously not a big fan of Biggs and I at this stage, because he's my number 2 as well. And I got Igbuka as my number 1 wide receiver in this class, only because of how insulated his value probably will be near the end, because he's going to probably slot in a slot role, and he's going to be probably one of the top targets on his team. And I think I just like that insulated floor with so much variables in the top end of this draft with guys that are going to be hard to peg if they're going to be success or not. And I think that Igbuka brings the safest floor to this group, Biggs.
Well, let me go ahead and give a teaser to one of my spotlights that I'm going to talk about way later. But what's interesting is that you and I have kind of a fluctuous top 5. You have Travis Hunter included in yours. And let's talk about Travis Hunter for a second. I'm pretty sure that Travis Hunter is going to go off the board before any of these other wide receivers, whether that's to play cornerback and wide receiver, or simply to play mostly wide receiver and some cornerback, whatever the team that drafts him has in mind for him. I know that Travis Hunter wants to play wide receiver. He wants to play both, but he does love playing wide receiver. That's really where the accolades and the shine comes from, is playing wide receiver. Although he's one of the top cornerbacks that, we've seen in a long time. And so he has the opportunity to be good on one side of the ball and then get shine on the other side of the ball. And who wouldn't want to do that? The other thing that I think gets overlooked when talking about Travis Hunter is exactly what it means to be a cornerback and a wide receiver. Now, if you're playing cornerback, you're being taught to look for certain tells, certain signs that wide receivers are doing that kind of give up what they're doing as far as their route running. So if you are on the flip side of that, you know what not to do to give tells to the cornerback who's trying to defend you. So Hunter is really looking at this from both sides, and he's bringing skills as a cornerback to the wide receiver position, and he's also bringing skills as a wide receiver to the cornerback position. So whichever way he goes, he's going to be excellent, especially if he's getting the practice time that it takes to be, all pro at one of the positions or both. Now, we haven't seen the draft yet. I left Travis Hunter out of my top 5. Just like you said, he very easily would be my number 1 if he lands on a team where it looks like they have 4 cornerbacks already and they have a need for wide receiver. If he goes to a team that has a ton of wide receivers and has needs at cornerback, and maybe it's a less than prolific passing offense, I can definitely see that dropping him down the rankings. Regardless of what happens in my dynasty league, my home league is an IDP league, Travis Hunter is the 101 on my board because he's going to be getting points from both sides. So I just wanted to talk about Travis Hunter for a second.
I love it, Biggs. Before we get into the top 5 tight ends, we're going to hear from the Fantasy Football or Fantasy Sports Advice Network.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We are here. We are here. FantasySportsAdvice.com, offering the best fantasy sports social media platform. Why join endless Discord communities or the trolls of Reddit? Fantasy Sports Advice is a community designed to help you win with 24/7 support. Go to FantasySportsAdvice.com and become a pro member for unlimited access. Again, go to FantasySportsAdvice.com today.
Yeah, do that.
Get there. Sorry, I was a little short on the button there. We have Schultze somewhere in the back. Hopefully that beast has not gotten him yet, Biggs. What's the update there?
Well, we have some search parties out in North Carolina who are currently on the lookout for the beast of Baldenboro. And if they find it, kill it and examine its stomach contents. We hope it's not Schultze in there.
Oh my goodness, can you imagine? Oh, all right. Well,
no, beast of Baldenboro, no.
Well, let's move on to our top 5 tight end rankings.
Let's.
Biggs, get into it, buddy.
All right, so at number 5, I have Mason Taylor. You can't argue with the bloodlines. Son of Jason Taylor, former defensive end of the Miami Dolphins. I got another bloodlines pick at number 4. That's Oronde Gadsden II, son of former NFL tight end Oronde Gadsden. At and Gadsden is an absolute athletic marvel, one of the fastest tight ends in the class, and produced at a very young age, dealt with an injury. But other than that, it has been elite and has been victim of, I forgot what Schultze called it, but when you have somebody who kind of peaks in their value early or has an early breakout, and then other people kind of steam up as they start hitting the map, that's kind of what's happened to Oronde Gadsden. A couple years ago, I was like, this dude is a can't miss tight end 1, period. And then we had the emergence of my number 2. We had the emergence of Fannin. We had the emergence of Colston Loveland. So Gadsden has kind of slipped a little bit in rankings, but I still like him more than just about any other tight end. But draft capital, we'll see. And on another show, we had the tight end guru, Andrew Cooper, at Koopa Fiasco over on Twitter. And he came on and he had some reluctance doing a tight end show pre-draft because it's really hard to tell what's happening. It's even harder to tell what's happening with tight ends before there's a landing spot. So I do have him coming on a show, a dynasty show right after the draft, so we can talk about some of the landing spot tight ends. At number 3, I have Harold Fannin. Again, super highly productive and very, very athletic. there are some safeties in the draft, and ostensibly safety is more athletic than linebacker. There are some safeties in the draft that are going to likely be first round picks and or high second round picks that Fannin out athleticize at the combine. That's bad news for NFL defenses, because if you have a slot guy, a big slot tight end who is more athletic than the linebackers and safeties that you're running out there, you're going to have to put a corner on him. And then he's 6'4", 235 pounds. Nobody's going to be able to cover that. So Harold Fannin Jr. is my number 3. My number 2 is Tyler Warren out of Penn State. This has flipped. I had him at number 1 just today, came across some information, pushed Loveland up to 1. That's all going to change with draft capital and everything. But at this point, Colston Loveland looks like the single most athletic tight end of the class. And for that reason, we know that age, 40 time, athleticism, those are all the better metrics for tight end production in the NFL, and Loveland has all those in spades. So he is my number 1.
I love it. I love that move. That's bold, Biggs. You're all about bold moves, and I'm here for it. I love Colston Loveland too, and I'll get into him a little bit more here. But at number 5 for me, I got Elijah Arroyo. I mean, he made a huge splash at the Senior Bowl. I know you were there, Biggs. He was kind of all the rave, and that's why I kind of have him in there, seeing that athleticism, potential upside there. So, in a class that has got an athletic monster like him, I'm going to try and see what he can roll with at my number 5. I like Mason Taylor too. He's in your top 5 as well. I got him in at 4. I'm not sure he's going to be the most fantasy prosperous tight end, but he's going to play right away. He's a good blocker, and I think that he's going to have some field time, and any sort of opportunity is a great opportunity, and he's got the bloodline like you mentioned. So I'm really optimistic about Taylor and where he lands. Harold Fannin is my number 3, as well as you there, Biggs. He's got that athleticism, he's got the speed. We'll see what happens. He's not the biggest body out there, so he might have some problems getting on the field early because his blocking assignments aren't the strongest at this stage. So we'll see what happens there. But he's, firmly locked in at my number 3 because of his upside as a pass catcher down the line here. And then Colston Loveland is my number 2. Like you mentioned, he's your number 1. And I think he's an underrated prospect because he's going under the radar behind Tyler Warren, who's getting all the glamour at this stage. Loveland has got that blend of size, athleticism. He's a great route runner and is a tantalizing combination to me for future success. 6'5", 245 pounds. He's got the frame and the tools to, be an immediate NFL contributor. He ranked 3rd in yards per route run in 2024. He was ranked 1st in first downs per route run in 2024. These are really great metrics to, do well on. He's got improved blocking throughout his season last year, and he only turns 21 in April. So his youth gives him plenty of time to refine his game. And like we mentioned on the Dynasty Pulse last week with Andrew Cooper, if he gets a good landing spot, this guy, like the Chargers, he could be really in a good spot here. So I really like Colston Loveland. And then obviously for me, Tyler Warren is the number 1 consistent. I think he's going to be with the draft capital, getting the, top end of the first round, potentially, making in the top 15 picks, which would really, solidify his role as a top tier tight end. And he's already been valued as a top 5 dynasty tight end. I'm not quite there yet because I haven't seen him play, but like in the NFL, and I don't know what his landing spot is, but he could quite easily be there with a great landing spot. Biggs, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. And one of the things that Andrew Cooper pointed out to us was the number of tight ends who were tight end 3 in their draft that have been fantasy relevant. And it's a very, very small number, which leads you to believe that either history is going to repeat itself and there are only 3 tight ends in this class worth drafting, or this is an historic tight end draft class. Now, I feel like when I look at our combined lists, we have 6 guys. I feel like Loveland, Warren, Fannin, and Gadsden are not draft spot dependent. I think all 4 of those guys are going to be able to produce regardless of which team they go to. I think Elijah Arroyo and even more so Mason Taylor are going to be completely landing spot dependent. So that's one of the reasons that I had Taylor at 5. You had Taylor at 4, with Arroyo sneaking in there. But yeah, it's, once you get past that top 3, and we have the same top 3, Fannin, Warren, and Loveland, not necessarily in that order, but it's the same guys. If we listen to Andrew Cooper, they might be the only guys that ever produce in the NFL.
There you have it, Biggs. And the guy was a great mind, and he knew a lot of stats right off the top of his head for years of products. So like I'm taking his word for it. And I think this tight end is great. Class is great, but may not be generational. So
hey,
yeah.
and if you want to know what we think after landing spots are there, you're going to go ahead and go out and get our Fantasy Sports Advice Network rookie guide. We've got a whole team of guys. We've been working our butts off trying to get this thing out, get these players scouted, get the film watched, get the analytics delved into, just trying to put some killer graphics together to make it, user friendly, some relevant stat points. It's going to be a banger. It's the first one that we've done at Fantasy Football Advice Network, and I think it's going to help a lot of you win your leagues, and I'm excited about it.
And it's not only for a seasoned veteran. There's some advanced stats that you're going to see within this rookie guide, but it's also for people that are just getting into fantasy football. There'll be some relevant stats there that you're going to be able to help you win your championships in your draft season. And we worked really hard to get this thing off and
get that edge.
Get that edge. And one more thing we should mention here before we get into our spotlights that everybody's waiting for is our merch store is on fire right now. Not actually, but we're getting some really good gear in there. So please go down there before it burns down and all the merch goes up in flames. But no, it's hot. Look at Big's hat. Look at my sweater.
I have breaking news.
Oh, wait. Breaking news, folks.
I have just received a friend request on Discord from Matt Harmon.
There it is.
I have breaking news. The Fantasy Sports Advice Network is sending a contingent of analysts to the NFL draft in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Tentatively, Mike Grindberg is efforting being one of the 4, but Biggs will be there. I will be reporting to you from the first round, and maybe even the second round of the NFL draft for Fantasy Football Advice Network. You're welcome.
There you go, folks. We're going to be boots to the ground. We're going to have a live show from Nashville at a facility. It's going to be banging. And then we're going to have people at the live draft where people are going to be getting interviews, live coverage, and we're going to have people, enhancing our news. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great time for the Fantasy Sports Advice Network. And we're excited
also, sorry to cut you off. If you've ever wanted to play in the Scott Fish Bowl, go ahead and go to scottfishbowl.com and create your account. Request to play in the SFB 15 and ask for a live draft and signify which live draft you want to attend. I know personally that the NorCal live draft in Sacramento is happening on June 21st, which is the first day of Scott Fish Bowl drafts. So we're going to be behind the 8 ball because we won't have any of the ADPs to look at. So we're going to be like just flying off the cuff. But yeah, if you're into the Northern California area, or you will be on Saturday, June 21st, go ahead and signify that you want to be in the Sacramento live draft, because I personally know the coordinator of that one, and he is going to try and get as many people as he can into the live drafts. We had 2 in San Francisco the last 2 years. He tells me that he's trying to get 4 divisions for Sacramento just to double up on San Francisco and be like, what now? That's the rumor that I hear. He tells me that I want to do.
Awesome, Biggs. Now let's get into our spotlight. But before we do that, let's underline it here. So this spotlight here is about a player that is outside of our top 5 right now that could maybe steam in there with the right draft capital. So Biggs, let's hear your spotlight.
I know, Mike, that you're a teacher and I'm a bad student. I didn't read the assignment before I filled it out. So it says right there, Rising Stars pre-draft sleeper spotlight. In this segment, we're shining a light on a wide receiver or tight end currently outside our top 5 who's flying under the radar now. And I kind of whiffed on that one because my spotlight is Luther Burden. Now, there is nothing about Luther Burden that is a sleeper. He has consistently been at the top level in terms of like what's happening with this wide receiver draft class since he was a freshman. He was a 5-star recruit going to Missouri. He had an early breakout year. He's been talked about for a couple years as, definitely a top 5 wide receiver. He just happens to be outside of my top 5. And the reason for that is because at this point, Luther Burden is very enigmatic. Now, I've tried to tell myself I'm not going to make the same mistake with Luther Burden this year that I did with Brian Thomas Jr. last year, in that there are some analytics that I weigh too heavy that kind of lead down a path of failure for Luther Burden. There were some usage rates that Brian Thomas Jr. had last year, which kind of had me out on him, and I whiffed, and that was bad. Now, Luther Burden was not used in a very good way to give him the kind of sample data that we need to be analytically sure that he's a can't miss prospect at the wide receiver position. However, the things that he does on the field lead us to believe with the eye test that he is an elite athlete and an elite wide receiver. Now, just for example, you type in Luther Burden in Twitter and go to the top tweets. Fantastic Josh Norris. Met him at the expo. Super good guy over on does work for I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, I'm only into 2023 so far, but Luther Burden has some of the best hands in this class. Plucks the ball away from his frame, hands catcher, only lets it into his body when it's helpful to shield it from a DB on his back. Good tracking. Impressed. My guy, Marcus Johnson, previous guest on Raiders Uncovered. Luther Burden is losing draft buzz after a down season. First round wide receivers with the best season yards per team pass attempt under 3, but a final yards per total team pass attempt over 2. Jackson Smith and Jigba, Chris Olave, Des Bryant, Luther Burden. Don't sweat the loss of production for Burden in 2024. And then you have some that are showing analytically Luther Burden is in a class of receivers that don't catch the ball very far past the line of scrimmage. And the players that he is in that stack with are all washouts. So one tweet you read and it's like he is elite. Another tweet you read and you kind of are not trying to put any rookie draft capital into him. So that's what I wanted to spotlight here. Luther Burden is definitely my wide receiver 6. If I'm getting to the point where the 5 guys that I talked about earlier are not there, I'm smashing Luther Burden because, like I said, draft capital is huge. And I think Luther Burden is probably going to go as the wide receiver 3 in this class. That's going to help him a lot. It's also going to put him in a situation where he's on a team that is using him better than Missouri did. He's going to be on a team with a quarterback better than what Missouri had. So there's still a lot to love about Luther Burden, while there are some alarming statistical comparisons that really raise some red flags for me. So there you go.
Yeah, that was a good breakdown, man. I really like that a lot because I'm on the same boat as you with this Burden situation. I think his talent is there. We know that his season in 2023 was a really good one, so he's shown flashes. So I'm on the fence. So that's why I'm just he's outside of my top 5, but with a good landing spot, I think he could be back in there quite easily. Now I'm going to talk about a guy that is kind of a sleeper, but not so much anymore. So let's talk about him.
Hey, Mike, talk about him.
I need to talk about him. It's Kyle Williams, and he's steadily gained attention as one of the more intriguing wide receiver prospects ahead of this draft. Williams, his 2024 season, it put him on the map. He had about 1,200 yards, 14 touchdowns. He's got big playability. He brings a good top end speed, good playmaking ability, and he's got a dynamic asset for an NFL offense. You know, his Senior Bowl performance further cemented his stock, where he showcased not only impressive speed, but also the capacity to win one-on-one matchups and show off explosive release from the line of scrimmage. He may not be a top 5 prospect at the moment, but his potential is undeniable. A 4.4 40-yard dash, an eye-popping 21.4 miles per hour at the Senior Bowl. It demonstrated his acceleration and deep threat potential. 2.7 yards per route run in 2024, generating a great level of separation. He's got good play, big play upside, and he's going to be a crucial asset for fantasy managers because of his explosive capabilities here. I think if he can get some decent draft capital, he's got the makings of being an elite wide receiver at the next level. I'm sorry, maybe not elite, but a very good wide receiver at the next level. Blend of size, speed, not so much size, but great speed, good route running, good playmaking ability. And I think he's one of the more exciting sleeper picks ahead of the draft. And with the right landing spot, he could quickly become a fantasy asset and immediate value, Biggs.
Absolutely. Kyle Williams, huge at Washington State. And he was catching passes from Cam Ward, if I'm not mistaken. Looked good at the Senior Bowl. Guy's fast. He's like real game speed, fast, and he's fun to watch. I'm looking for big things. If I had read the assignment correctly, I would have gone with Arkansas Razorbacks wide receiver Isaac TeSlaa, not Tesla, not Tesla, TeSlaa. Love his athleticism, his catchability, even though he was on a subpar offense in Arkansas. I think he's going to be, if I had to place money on the wide receiver in this class that is going to outplay his real draft capital the most, it's going to be Isaac TeSlaa. I'm seeing a Jalen McMillan type late season emergence for him, simply because he's so good. So that's going to do it for us. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you liked our analysis and stuff. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you didn't like our analysis and stuff. Argue with us in the comments. Argue with yourself first, and then argue with us in the comments. Go to fantasysportsadvice.com and sign up for your account and everything. Play Fast Draft. Get into the Scott Fish Bowl. We will be back with more episodes next week. And hopefully... okay, so I have breaking news. Schultze has not necessarily been eaten by the beast of Bladenboro. He may have been sirened away by the Cape Fear River Mermaids.
What's worse? What could be possibly worse than the beast?
Nothing. So as long as he wasn't eaten by the beast of Bladenboro, Schultze will be back with us next week. And we'd love to have all you guys too.
All right. From all of us on the Fantasy Football Advice Network, we hope you win.
We hope you win.
Peace.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.